Good evening. Welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today about Doug Pinnick. How are you?
I'm doing great. No complaints.
Everyone knows you from King's X and a billion of your side projects, but we're talking about King's X. Very exciting. I've heard the album. Really, really awesome album. Totally.
Thank you.
I like literally. Usually, when I get a preview of an album, I hear it. I dig it. I've been lucky. I've got a lot of good ones this year. But man, this is. I gotta say, probably like a top album of yours. I think it has
Thank you.
so much diversity. It's not a dig towards the other ones. 'Cause I love the other ones, but
Hmm.
it feels like you've got so much in this. Like it feels like all the years of you doing everything has culminated into this nice little package of diversity. It's
I
you know
would agree.
um
I would agree, and it's great to hear you saying that. That's what we want people to hear because that's how we did it. We put our hearts into it, and people are asking why it took us so long. Well, after 14 records, I think it was, we just felt like we didn't have anything really to offer that was
yeah.
special. We can do solo records and I can do side projects and all kinds of stuff, but there's something special about King's X that the people love. And we didn't feel like we could give them that standard. So we just backed off for a while. And then finally the day came around where it just all hit us, where we had some songs and we were talking and hanging out, and just we said, let's make a record. It's been 14 years, and I think we got some stuff here. So we just felt encouraged after listening to some of each other's demos and stuff, and yeah, and it just came out that way. But literally, we wanted to make sure it had to be something special for our people, or else what's the use of doing it?
Well, I love to do deep dives. When you last time we talked about some of the artwork, and you're trying to explain some of the artwork on some of the albums. We had a fun time about that. So I want to talk about some of the songs and the artwork. Even you're like one of them. You're like, I don't even know what that is. I'm like, is that a baby head? It was funny. We had a good time. But this new album cover is great. It's
Thank
the
you.
colors are great. The art's great. I like the title, Three Sides of One. It really feels like it's all three of you guys meeting, you know, and I don't know. It's the perfect mix. Like I'm like speechless because I think you guys have all
Awesome.
just hit. You guys have hit your stride on a level. Like we're all three of you were just together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we
The
felt
album
that.
isn't heavy. Like isn't like a heavy album or just a soft album. Or like sometimes this one has got so much dynamics. Like I'm like, is that King's X? Like it sounds like even the vocals, the harmonies. I know you're not a big. You get burned on the Beatles. A lot of Beatlesque
Oh yeah, there's
harmonies.
always Beatles.
I know. I love the
Always.
Beatles, but it's
Always Beatles. That's our middle name, Beatles. Are you kidding me?
yeah, but you don't sound like it. It's just like it because I think there's not a lot of bands that actually do harmonies. Is what it is.
uh, yeah.
I mean, if you really
I
think
was,
about it, there really
it's
isn't.
true. I was playing the Guess Who today. I found an old cassette
Oh wow,
and I was playing Bus Rider and I sat there thinking, wow, listen to those harmonies. Or Uriah Heep
I love
or
Uriah Heep.
Three
Yeah.
Dog Night. It's like even yes, everybody back
Hmm.
in the day, it was just common that everybody sang. I wonder what happened because a lot of people don't sing like that no
They
more.
don't, and I think that's why you guys. I mean, I could say, oh, you guys are the Beach Boys too because you guys harmonize. I mean, we
Oh
could do
yeah.
that. Um, and that's the thing. Nobody or very few people in the band sings.
Hmm.
Artists' harmonies are usually one good singer, or then there's another guy to do background. But not everybody can be like lead vocalists and
Hmm.
carry a tune. You know, and
Yeah.
that's been the strength of you guys, and that's why you guys have the solo projects and everything else.
Thanks.
And they're always good projects, but like when you said you guys were hanging out, I don't even imagine you guys live near each other at this point, right? Like,
No, I live in LA. Jerry lives in New Jersey and Ty's in Kansas City.
right. So if you guys to hang out, it almost feels like it's got to be like an event, like a birthday party or something.
The only time we hang out is when we get together to go play.
Right.
Yeah.
So I imagine just you guys sat down and jammed out a little bit when you guys had a gig, right? And you guys were like, oh, this is some magic
Yeah,
here.
I mean, well, now we had to rehearse for the last couple gigs we did, but because we hadn't played for 2.5 years, but before that, yeah, we never rehearsed. We'd not play for 3 months and fly to Sweden and play Sweden Rock Fest the first night out, walk on the stage, cold and do it, and
You probably do that
we
to make
just
it
laugh.
exciting, right?
Well, we laughed at each other and go, we don't even rehearse, and and we laugh about it. And when we get out on stage, we do mess up, but by the time we get to the second verse, we got it.
Well, you notice like when a couple are together for so long, you know each other's words, each sentences. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You guys can go to a
exactly.
room separately. You guys can show up at the same event separately and know you're gonna be on the same page when you talk about something.
Exactly,
You
exactly.
know, it's just a relationship with three people. You
Hmm.
know, which is harder than two. You know,
Yeah, it's true.
the title. Who came up with that? Because usually a title sometimes has to do with the lyrics or the
Yeah, well,
title.
we couldn't think of a name. Nobody seemed to have anything run into their head or was concerned. And usually in the past, somebody always has something, and we go run with it. But this time, nothing was coming to anybody. And right before we had to do the release date and the press release and the album cover name.
Hmm.
Our manager called up and says, "Look, we need a name." And nobody responded. And so he said, "Well, how about Three Sides of Truth?" And I remember thinking,
Excuse
truth
me.
is a bit too pretentious. Let's try one, Three Sides of One. And everybody went, "Yeah, that sounds fine." And then we thought about it for a second. Yeah, that
That's
works.
good. It is good.
And so it was just sort of like everything else we do. It just comes up, and
Yeah,
there's not a
it
lot of
does work.
thought
I mean,
behind anything.
you,
Yeah.
three sides of truth is you gotta give your manager some props on that one to pull that one out. No, but you guys had nothing, right?
Yeah,
You
we
gotta
had
give him some. You
nothing.
gotta give some credit. You gotta just
Oh yeah, it was
like
wasn't for him.
it
This
was
wouldn't have
good.
came out
It
with.
was a good. I think it was a good start.
Yeah.
Um, but one is that so the artwork is it somebody different this time doing the artwork because usually you guys have a picture or some kind of crazy background. This
Yeah,
one's just
well,
more.
for me personally, I don't want to be on the front cover of anything anymore. I'm 72 years old. Who gives a fuck? Just an old man trying to look cool. I don't care. You know, um, and so I remember I was saying I don't want to be on the front cover of this record. Let's find an illustrator. And
Mhm.
so we sent the music to this guy and said, "Would you just come up with something?" And the only thing we were really talking about was we were really excited about it being a record. That was the whole thing about making this was making a record. It wasn't making a CD or something to stream.
Mhm.
We wanted to make a piece of art that sounded great on a record player like it did back in the day, and he even played it on. It's a double record played on 45. There's three songs aside so that we can get the best quality. And we done the record completely analog except for Pro Tools. Everything went down with tubes, and mastering was tubes and everything.
Wow.
So we really worked hard at sonically wanting to get that record to be something that was a classic. And for some reason, the guy made up a cover that, to me, back when I was 22 years old and 72, I'd go to the store and buy that record and come home. And I would just examine that record, just continually examine it with all the things. And I think this record does that. And that's is what we're trying to go for.
That's awesome because I'm sad I do record shows and I have tons of records and I love it. That's what I love about records. It's because there
Yeah.
was no internet. You open it up, like take a Leonard Skinner or some tour. You usually get the records when the band was on tour. They had the
Right.
time to do anything, so they had pictures from the tour inside the album
Right.
cover. So it's like,
Those are
what's
my
going on in their
favorite.
tour? You know what I'm saying? It's like they're all on the bus and there's all kinds of recording studio headphones and there's these crazy shots of Deep
Exactly.
Purple and this double fold gatefold album stuff.
Yeah. I
You
mean, it
know,
was almost 4 or 5 records in before I ever got to see what Led Zeppelin looked like. I mean, even I remember the third record came out and I looked on the back and there was like a drawing of them, and Robert Plant's hair was all white, big, and they just looked so cool, but it still was not a real picture.
right? And that's
It's
the thing. I mean,
amazing.
it changed things, but you also had like three albums to break yourself too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Think of the bands that are huge. Zeppelin out of the gate, the first album. If they had to do a hit,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have been here. Aerosmith, the first couple albums,
Yeah.
they're classics,
True.
but they weren't
Yes.
radio friendly.
No, they weren't.
In fact, I love them. I love them more because they're raw myself.
Yeah, me too.
But
I saw Aerosmith on their first tour on the first record.
they
They
were
started out with
monsters.
Trent. Yeah, they were. They were amazing even then.
But you know what I'm saying. So it doesn't happen. Only like the Eagles, I think, came out probably with like a pristine image sounding nucleus because they were like,
Yeah,
whose band? They were a backing band for oh, I can't think of her name. Anyway,
I
but
forgot,
so
but they got Joe Walsh in there, which just leap. I mean,
yeah,
what do you do with that? Yeah.
and it harkens
Wow.
back to to like this album. This does feel like it's an album. I'm excited to get that as an album. The songs, you get 12 songs. It's not short. The songs aren't too long or too
Oh,
short.
good.
The when I listen to something, I'll listen to it, and then I'll like listen to it like doing yard work. I'll listen to it in the car. I'll listen to headsets,
Uh,
different speakers,
hmm
different environments. Because some things you can do different activities with,
Right.
and some you can just listen to. And this is one of all of them, because it's really great. And I really love it in headphones. It's going to be great in your car stereo, but I sonically put good headphones on, not just earbuds.
hmm
Put the good ones
Oh
on,
yeah, the good ones.
and hear. There's things that you don't normally hear
Yeah.
in here. It's crisp. You'll feel like you're in the room with them, and that's exciting. You know,
I'm still hearing things.
yeah,
I don't listen to a record after we put it out. I'm done with it. But before that, I
right.
play it all the time. And yeah, I keep hearing little things. And a couple of days ago, I heard something that I hadn't heard before. And I'm going, well, I got to call Michael up and tell him I heard it. So yeah, that's exciting.
Yes, that's what I really enjoy about it. Let's actually jump into some songs. Let It Rain. Now you have a couple singles out, and you've
hmm
like leaked out. I noticed. What is the release date for the full album?
September 2nd, day before
Is
my
it,
birthday.
okay, is it second? Okay, so everybody buy it. It's a good birthday gift for him.
Oh.
Let's make this one go up to charts. Let's make this the biggest King's X record that you
Oh,
guys have had.
that would be cool.
It would be cool, you know. But Let It Rain has been out for a while. You guys have been playing it live.
Yeah.
The nucleus of playing that song. First off, it's a fun song. Um, it feels like it's happy and sad at the same time. It's very melancholy. I think it feels like it's very what's going on with life nowadays. But it's not
Yeah.
downtrodden. It's just I'm aware and I'm upbeat,
hmm
but I'm very
hmm
aware, like conscious
hmm
maybe.
I think a lot of us are. And no one, we don't have a spokesperson. All we hear is one side or the other, and it's so ridiculous. Either side.
Right.
And then there's a whole bunch of us right in the middle are looking around going, yeah, this is happening, but I got to keep my cool and try to keep my head above the water and try to work it out.
hmm
And I think that's where I'm at.
Well, I think with the lyrics, I know you guys all worked this together, but overall, it's
Oh,
not
not the lyrics. Each one who wrote the song wrote the
right. But I'm saying
lyrics.
like you guys have all your. What I'm saying, the content of all the lyrics separately
Oh,
work together as one. It's
cool.
that's what my point is. It's not
Yeah.
preachy. It's not
Uh-huh.
like I don't even feel like it's a certain point of view. I feel like it's very um, here's what's going on. Here's what we're saying. Think about it.
hmm
Just take
Yeah.
this, and it's very malleable. You want to work on it and process it. And all three of you, I couldn't tell you because I didn't have the lyrics or who wrote them. I have an idea by listening to it,
hmm
but really, the lyrics are a lot more. This songs on this album feel more interchangeable than the other ones.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow, cool.
um, Flood, holy moly, talk about riffs. I mean, it goes from like Pantera era riff into like the
Uh-huh.
Beach Boys. God only knows, like it's got the melody and the power. You
Uh,
know.
yeah, when I wrote that song, all the stuff we wrote before the pandemic,
hmm
and when I wrote that song, it's called Flood Part One because it was a magnum opus song. It was like 10 minutes. I had like four more parts in the song,
And
and as I'd play the song, I would go, this is like Chariot song. It just went way out there. And I thought, fuck that. And so I took four parts out and
wow.
condensed it. And I went, wow, this works. And there's Flood Part Two also.
Oh, I was gonna
So
say
I
that's
mean,
my whole point because you can't do a part
yeah,
one and then not do it.
yeah. The other parts are Part Two, which are another song.
Okay.
And I've got that finished too. So you'll probably hear it down the road.
All right. Good.
But
Good.
what was I gonna say? On
You're saying how you chopped up the
oh
song?
oh yeah. And I remember when I chopped it up and put it together, and it was like a train wreck rolling to a picnic, or vice versa. And I thought to myself, well, that is what I do. And so I thought, might as well just take it as far as we can. And I played it for Ty and Jerry, and they liked it. I was like, okay. And every time I even play it now, I laugh because
Yeah.
after we come out of the brutal part and the violin comes in, dun, dun, and maybe and it's just Madhouse.
Yeah,
our
totally.
house.
How like the song order is very important on an album.
Mhm.
Who came up with the song order? Who's
Michael
that's
Parnan,
a hard job, man.
yeah, Michael Parnan did it. I cannot sequence anything. I think I'm the worst sequencer in the world, and the reason why is because whatever song that I worked on first, I'm sick of, so it goes on the end. It's all
Yeah,
emotional. You never can, And so Michael said he was going to sequence it. He said he's the master sequencer, and he said you guys don't even worry about
yeah. He
it. And
out of the park with it
good.
because
Well, you know the math behind it. It's a
and you can't just go
mathematical.
like light, heavy, heavy, light, heavy. There's more to it than
No,
that, and that's what people don't realize.
it's yeah, it's timing, pitch, length,
Hmm.
vibe.
How
It's
your
all
ears are
that.
tired from one thing, you want to be fresh for another thing,
Exactly.
and people don't realize that. They're like, "Oh yeah, they're skipping
Hmm.
through songs." You're like, "No, it's usually put together for a reason.
Yeah,
It's an event. It's a meal."
yeah, it
You
is.
know?
I had a hard time with it at first because I go, no, 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 no. But now I listen to it and I'm going, this is going to be perfect for people.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I was looking. I'm like, I couldn't have even known what to do with that one. So let's hop into maybe talk a little bit. Nothing but the truth.
Yeah, that's my purple rain. Literally.
It's beautiful.
I remember one day I was sitting there, I was thinking about Purple Rain and what an amazing song that was. But, or to add to it, the influence where it came from,
Hmm.
which is me and Prince. I'm older than Prince, so his influences are mine
Yep.
before him. So when I say it's my Purple Rain, it's me trying to put together that great soul song,
Great.
that soulful kind of vibe. Curtis Mayfield kind of just, and it came out okay. It came out better than I expected it. There was one chord in it that Ty changed that turned everything around and made it right, which I was happy for. Because, whenever we bring a song in, somebody might come along and go, that chord change would be better if we did this one note. And
Hmm.
all of a sudden, everything opens up, anyway.
No, and this song, I feel like it could have been from the '70s, but it could be actually from any time period. But it does feel like
Yeah,
it
it
pulls
is a
from.
'70s vibe,
It feels
'60s,
like it pulls
'70s.
from that energy. That's why it
Yeah,
just,
especially the bass line.
yeah.
I can't believe how loud the bass is in that song. I had nothing to do with that. But I'm thinking, damn, turn the bass down just a little. But then I go, no, old soul songs, the bass was the loudest.
Yep.
I
There's
grew up
like
listening to.
there's like five. I say there's five sounds from the band. There's drums, guitar, bass, whoever's singing, and then all the harmonies. Those are
Yeah,
the five sounds of the band, and they all, when they're produced right with a good song, they all need to stand out sonically in their
right.
own area. You know,
Yeah, I think
some
Michael
bands,
did that.
yeah, and I don't think some bands don't need bass up that high. It
Hmm.
depends on the bands. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You're the band that the bass needs to be up there with everything else. That's just who you
Us
guys
and
are.
you too. King's X and
Yes.
you too.
All right.
Just
Yeah.
we have loud bass, but
Yeah.
without that bass, it wouldn't be the same.
It does. How about okay? So give it up. That's a
Hmm.
that's a fun one.
Yeah, I turned 70 when I wrote that song, and all of a sudden, all these thoughts were flooding in. You're not immortal anymore. You might have 20 or 30 years left. Uh, so what you gonna do now? And I thought about, okay, how am I gonna deal with this? And all of a sudden, it just all came to me. It's like all those lyrics are exactly what I was thinking. And the last line is, if you found your groove, hang on to whatever keeps you. It's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And what's broke, let it go. You know,
Yeah.
it's living day by day now, living from day to day and enjoying the day and enjoying your life and looking back at what you've done with your life, and instead of criticizing yourself, forgive yourself and see the good things in it, and how it really was. And even, my mom died not too long ago, and even her passing away helps me see the world in a different way, even getting to know her after she passed away through other people and things like that.
Oh, really?
So it all just kind of kind of it accumulated, and that's I'm never going to give it up until the lights go out. Chris Cornell had killed himself, and thinking, well, I mean, I knew him, and I'm going, that was a blind side, It's like I knew, struggles and all the stuff, but for where I was coming from, knowing him at this point in his life, he seemed like he was doing the greatest he ever was,
Yeah.
especially with his kids. I remember last time they came to town, I went to see them and hung out, and he had to leave real quick. He said, "I got to go home and put my kids to bed." And I mean, he left all the fans, all the friends, everybody they hadn't seen, and I said, "You do that." I said, "I wish my dad would had been like that." So it just always blows my mind. And Chester too. But anyway, that song, I mean, a little bit of that was in the back of my mind, because it seems like people are just killing themselves, and I don't understand.
It
I
is
want to, I
weird.
want to be sympathetic. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Well,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Well, if you notice, well, first I want to say, like, with the pandemic, everything changed. I almost think the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic was just a magnifying glass on what was really happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything was already exploding. It just got larger. People's attitudes got, you saw it closer. It just made things
Mm-hmm.
bigger. I think it was already there. I don't think the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic changed anything. I think it was already
Mm-hmm.
changing. People just get more dug into their thoughts, less about other
Yeah.
people. And then the pandemic just was like, hit it home. You mean, just,
Yeah,
hit the
it
nail,
did. It
you know,
made
it,
everybody stop and think.
or not think about other people. And then the deaths in the past 3 or 4 years, even also going
Yeah.
back to Chris and Chester, it felt like that was just the beginning, because there's a lot of people now, in their 30s and
Yeah.
40s. It's not like remember, like, we were growing up, you see,
Right.
everyone's passing away. You're like, oh, that was my favorite show, Archie Bunker's Place, or,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, but they were old, or they're a certain age, right? And now you're like
Mm-hmm.
39, 49 years old,
Right.
people passing away. And some of them are actually natural causes. They're not like
Y-
rock and roll drug overdoses. They're like, or suicide. They're natural causes.
Right. Right.
And that's a big
It's
thing,
things are different.
you know?
Life is different, it's and we can see it, and not to get philosophical, but the corporations and the government and the powers that be and all that stuff, you can go down a conspiracy rabbit hole forever, but some of that shit is true,
Hmm.
and that's the sad thing about it. And I don't know, we're really stuck because whatever the truth is, the lies are killing us.
Or people don't want to get out of their own way. There's a lot of history that people don't know about that's out there.
That's what
Where
I'm saying.
some heinous things that this country's done, and you
Oh,
can read it, and it's not conspiracy theories; it's fact. We
I
weren't taught
know.
that in school, and there's
Hmm.
not crazy. I'm not going off the deep end here. I'm saying, but there's true stuff that we've done as a country, and it's out there, not as a big,
Hmm.
huge level, but people don't want to get out of their way because it changes the envelope of safety that they're in, where they can
Right. It
get their
does. I
iPhones
mean,
and get their devices and do this and that, and
mhm,
get their car and whatever and trick it out. You can't,
right.
be enjoying yourself if you're thinking about, setting up a war with Cuba or some kind of false attack. You know what I'm saying? That kind of
Right.
stuff.
Well, there's a percentage of humanity that don't pay attention to that stuff, and they're just in it to do what they do. I saw this. It was a poll or a statistic or some kind of scientific fact. I'm not sure. You never know anymore. It was on YouTube, but they said that 40% of the people in the world don't have that voice in their head. Like I hear a voice 24 hours a day. I'm talking to myself,
Hmm.
and there's 40% that don't. And I realized it was those must be the people that aren't paying attention. They're not looking ahead or looking behind. They're just living for the moment. And I'm looking ahead and looking behind. That's the difference between the two. So of course we're going to react different to
Hmm.
things. I'm thinking what's going to happen to me down the road, and other people are going tomorrow, whatever. I don't, I'm, you know.
Right.
So, and I've always been the type of person that wants to solve problems. I want to try to figure out why people think the way they do and why everybody are the way they are or is, because I want to find that common ground that we can get along with each other. And there's always two sides to every story, and then the truth. And I've always lived with that. But right now in our lives, I feel that the two stories are people's truth now, and there's nothing in the middle. And I can't find any way to bridge the gap between the two because nobody wants to listen to each other anymore. So this record has a whole lot to do with my view on the world right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say now I'm thinking that what we need is a flood, because as a joke, it's a joke. You know, if
Right.
me and you're talking, I'm going, man, the world needs a flood right now. Just straighten up this shit. And we laugh. You know, I just wrote a song about it. That's all. But that's the way I see it now. It's like I don't know if we can fix this. Maybe the alternative is to just start over again. Just a new beginning.
For the world
Every
to just
beginning
throw up
has
on
to have an
us.
end. Right, you know, and the earth is, you know, the way I look at it, the earth is a living organism
Oh
itself.
yeah, we've had a toxic
And
relationship with Mother Earth. We've been
right,
abusive relationship.
and she's getting rid of us. She's breaking down the population. There's too many roaches. We got to put a little pesticides up in here, you know, because Mother Earth will survive. And if we're wiped out, another species will come along and probably do the same thing, you know. But that's my philosophy.
Well, I think, and the thing is, there's different mindsets, and probably that's why society has government, and there's different types of people. Some people are worker
Uh-huh.
bees, some people are entertainers. Like
I
some people
agree.
think outside the box.
I
Now,
agree.
here's a challenge, like for someone like you, you want to do all these great things, but you're also very empathetic and very
Hmm.
sensitive.
Hmm.
So going into politics probably would have crushed your soul with
Oh
how
yeah.
bad it is. But being a musician or an artist or anything else where you can express yourself and keep pushing the positivity of love or feelings or discussing anger and working it out, but putting it out there, you have control over that and you can focus and aim it as a target. Whereas if you took that brain of yours with your heart to politics,
Hmm.
you know, it would have been a mess.
True, but I do find though that also that if a musician speaks a little too much about politics or religion, there's a backlash.
Right. You're not talking about
It's
politics. You're talking about human beings and love.
That's what I try to keep it in there. Even
Yeah.
when I say left and right, I'm still
Right.
saying I'm trying to equate the two as these are people
Hmm.
and they have a certain thought pattern. It ain't that you're stupid and these idiots and can't they see and why don't they? And I'm going, well, what about you? You know, because I could be wrong too with my political beliefs. What I've learned, you know, I'm going maybe I'm wrong. You know, can't we be open to that? And it seems like at now people don't want to be even open.
Yeah. No, not unless you make a viral video of it, and then people might notice it for about 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then
and that's
yeah,
it.
that's it. It's the window of time. So I think
Yeah.
musicians that can talk about things without being preachy, it's a fine
Mm-hmm.
line, but it's something that's important if you can do it right. You know.
Yeah, I try.
I think maybe YouTube probably always balances that line. They probably get a little sometimes too far for some people, but then
Mm-hmm.
they pull it back a little bit.
What I
Whereas
love
you
about
guys,
YouTube,
yeah,
the thing about YouTube, and I've always YouTube was probably my second or third favorite band in the whole world. I followed them from the beginning. I even got their demos before they got a record deal. I mean, I had posters of Bono and U2 all over my walls when they first came
great
out.
early hairdos. Great early
Oh,
hairdos.
oh yeah, October changed my life. It showed me that I could speak my faith in a way that wasn't preachy.
Mhm.
Bono did that to me. Literally, my lyrics changed from pointing the finger to going inside myself.
Hmm.
And what was my point? oh,
Well, about them being too political. I was gonna say like the music
oh
isn't
yeah, yeah,
political. I think he's spoken out
right,
sometimes, and not in a negative way, but just that's where I think the fans got kind of goofy.
right. Here was my point. Though. King's X, all three of us were Christian. And because we were, they tagged us a Christian band, even though we didn't consider ourselves one,
Excuse me. You're right.
or we were trying to go out and preach and save the world. You two got away with it in one aspect because one guy was and everyone knew when you opened up Rolling Stone, it was the or two of them are Bible thumpers, the other two aren't Christian, or three of them are back there reading their
Yep.
Bibles, the other one's drinking and fucking chicks. So they got the good, okay, in Rolling Stone. But when King's X got to Rolling Stone and the Gretchen album, um, we told each other, do not talk religion at all to the interviewer, David Frick. Uh, don't, because we knew that if he took that angle, it would be blasted a Christian band of Rolling Stones, which would have been our death, because this was like '89.
I
Okay,
remember
so
them.
it wasn't
Oh yeah.
cool. The C word was not cool. And so we went in and did 3 days with this with he's I think he's the head of Rolling Stone now, but we did 3 days with him. He spent a day with each of us. And he spent the Sunday with me, and I never mentioned Christianity. We talked about everything you could think of, like we talk now. Then he says, "Hey man, we're done. Turn the tape off." And he says, "Hey, let's go out and have some dinner later." And I go, "Okay." And we go out and have dinner. He says, "So, off the record, so what's your take on the Christian side of your? I mean, what's your Christian heritage and what happened?" And so I spewed it all out to him, and the interview turned into that. It made me look like I was a preacher who was going to go out to save the world. He really twisted it. And then the review was not a bad album if you want to get beat over the head with loaves of bread and fish.
What?
It killed us. Rolling fucking Stone, the magazine that I coveted, that I couldn't wait to be on the front of. To the dream was to be on that magazine,
Mm-hmm.
and we got 4.5 stars, which was what they give all the bands that they liked. So it was fine, but it just, and from that point on, we've been that Christian band, and it's never went away.
It's
So that's the
crazy.
thing. If I had just said fuck in the interview, they would have let it go, because they knew at that time in Christianity it was such bullshit. You had Jim Baker, you had
Mm-hmm.
what's his name? Um, uh,
Oh,
you could go down the list, Oral
yeah, yeah,
Roberts, all
oh,
those
yeah.
people.
What a
So,
name! How does that
so
name not sound like trouble? Everybody just begin with Oral. Is your name?
I know it's crazy. So anyway, that was that era of it was yeah, it was interesting, and so that's why I feel like you two got away with it and we didn't. I think that we might have had a chance a little bit more of the masses hearing us at least, and also if they had put us in alternative music, but they put us in the metal section. Everywhere King's X was in the metal, and we weren't a
Mm-hmm.
metal band. We weren't alternative either. We didn't sound like REM either, but
You had
I
some heavy,
thought,
dark riffs. I don't think they knew what to do with them.
right, but they put the cult on it. That's what broke my heart. I'm going, you got the cult on there with She Sells Sanctuary. That's fucking rocking hard. I couldn't believe that they wouldn't play us, because to me, King was kind of a throw off from She Sells Sanctuary. I mean, that song changed my life when I heard it back and when it came out. And I'm thinking that is where I'm trying to head with this band, this U2 meets AC/DC, because
Yeah.
that was in my head in 1985. That's what I was trying to accomplish. And I had written some songs that had that kind of a vibe, but they put it together and said, they taught me, they schooled me on that one. So, and yeah, and so King to me is sort of a derivative of that, the cult. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, all that.
But when that came
Uh,
out though,
uh,
like, it didn't stick out though. You guys, like, to me and other fans that probably stayed with you, the cult
mm-hmm.
type following. Do you hear? Oh, I think they're a religious band. I think they're a Christian band. But I think everyone's like, really? I don't know. They're not preaching to me. Like nobody cared. Like the real
Exactly.
fans didn't care because I'm like, I don't really hear that. I just hear positive music because yeah,
Exactly.
the
Even Dave Mustaine said to us, well, Dave came up to us and said the reason he got into us because he heard we were a Christian band.
right.
So there was a small, I mean, there was a whole lot of people that didn't know and didn't care. And then there was a few people who literally got into us because of it, which is great too. So it's sort of like it worked for some reason. It worked. I wish it could have worked bigger, but
Well,
we
you guys are
agree.
more like a positive, like just a positive band about
Yeah,
love and life.
right.
Your lyrics weren't about Slayer, so I guess
No, well, and grunge was on its way, and there were some angry kids coming. I
there
mean,
were
it's like Jeff Ament and Chris Cornell both said to me, "Why were we so angry?"
because
You
you're
know,
teenagers, because you're kids.
Jeff, yes. Jeff said to me, we why do we wanted to be rock stars. We wanted to be on the front cover of these magazines. Why did we act like we didn't? And I just kind of laughed. Chris said, what were you so angry about? And he just chuckled.
That's pretty funny. I mean,
Yeah.
looking back, I mean, what do you do? You either be rock stars or be grunge. You know, the energy. So when you're
Hmm.
young, this is a young person's energy.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
true.
but the changes
Every
you've
year.
done though, and like
Hmm.
you've, I mean, you can look back and your struggles have helped out other people. You know,
Hmm.
like say with the Christian thing, or what about being, um, you know, I mean, the rock industry is such a male, white, heterosexual industry.
Yeah.
In case you didn't notice, right?
I've never had a problem with it.
But
I remember watching an interview with Michael Stipe, and they said, "So, how do you feel about people knowing that you're gay?" And he said, "Oh," said, "People talk about that." And he says, I never thought about it. I just do what I do," and that's how I've always been.
right,
If you ask me, I'll tell you. If you don't,
right.
I
Well,
just
aside
keep
that,
on
I'm
going.
saying, or that's a role model,
Yeah,
or
I
some
know.
for younger children is what I'm saying.
Right.
A black man in
Hmm.
rock, a black
Hmm.
gay man who's being
Hmm.
successful and doing positive things.
Hmm.
How many relatable things were there for people? You know what I mean? That's
Yeah, and
fantastic. That's a
I,
good
I've
thing.
I've gotten stories from people from gay people that said that it changed their lives or they're alive today because they found out that I was or whatever. Um, for me personally, it's sort of like just do what you do, and if you're doing it right, people will be inspired by it, and they will try to it'll inspire
Right,
them, like Jimi Hendrix did for me when I heard Bandit Gypsies. I said, okay, I'm a black boy and I can play rock.
right.
I can do this because I did. But my black friends in the community said, well, why are you playing that white boy music? Why are you playing Led Zeppelin? And so that did that for me. And I don't think they went out to purposely do that. They were just being themselves. They love
Right.
rock music. And so that's always been my point. And I know that there's a certain fraction of the gay community that feel that I should speak up or stand up
Well,
or
I don't.
wave my flag.
Yeah, I wasn't going
And
there with it.
I feel like if I do that, it'll take away from everything.
I agree. I
Everything.
agree. The fact
Hmm.
that you were it just happened to be like, so and so, Bono's got a wife.
Hmm.
You're gay. It's just a part of you, and you're going on with it, and you're not waving the flag as making
Right.
it, taking it from you. It's just a part of who you are,
Hmm.
and you're living a positive life in an
Yeah.
industry that's not dominated like that. You know, Rob Halford was fantastic doing that. Desmond Child. Those were
Yeah. Oh, I
important.
didn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know Desmond Child was awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a big talk on it. I was that wasn't fantastic because he actually said he broke the ceiling
Yeah, he
once
did.
again
Gee.
because he was in there with all these rock bands from the 80s and
Hmm.
90s. Talking about these
And singing
great.
heterosexual songs.
Right, he's in
That's
there
so
writing with the most heterosexual macho guys ever songs,
right.
and
That's awesome.
he did it his way,
Hmm.
which
Well,
once again
he wrote the same song with different lyrics in different keys for all those bands.
there was.
Because
He's
if
actually
you
pointed out.
really put
Yeah,
them together, they all sound like the same song.
he
I
said some funny
loved it.
things.
Yeah.
But that's important. What I'm saying, also the rock metal community has always been it's probably one of the most open
Yeah.
communities ever. Anyhow,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's that. I just wanted to note that I think it's fantastic
It's
side part
awesome.
of your life that you've been a very positive influence. I think.
I remember when I met Rob Halford about maybe 5 years ago. He did a little clinic at NAM, and I went out. I snuck in the back door to watch, because I'd never met him. And lo and behold, the announcer, the last question, he looked back and said, "I see dUg Pinnick way back there." So you got any questions for Rob? And Rob says, "I know who you are." And we had a little conversation there. And then after the show, I went up to meet him officially, and he said, "Let's take a picture." And I pulled my camera out and I snapped. He said, "Let me see it." And he looked and went, "Not bad for two old queens." And I gave him a hug, and it was like, there you are. It was like there was no more ice between us. It was awesome.
That is awesome. I mean, his voice still is freaking awesome. He's
Yeah, I
another one.
know.
He's a legend, and
Yeah.
and he's also led. That's a good thing, man. The lives you could have changed with your songs, your lyrics, and just being positive and
Hmm.
being yourself and out.
Hmm.
Man,
Hmm.
that's a good thing to lay your head down at night. Imagine one person. You know what I'm saying?
Well, for me to lay down my head, which I do now, is to accept the fact that I am because in the society that we're raised, there's always that thought in the back of your head. There's always that one little thought of, what if they don't like me because, and that it never went away. And it was always sort of a fear when you meet someone, and then they find out and they walk away going, I have to deal with this for a minute. Or they go, oh, and that bothers me, because it's not something I chose, and it's not something that I've just put on. It is who I am. It's like if somebody looked at me and said they have a problem because I'm Black. That's who you are. So that's always bothered me. But for some reason, turning 70, that and a lot of things in my mind that always I dragged with me left. And now it doesn't bother me. There's not a glitch if someone says anything negative about who I am or anything that I do. It's like I just go, what am I supposed to do? You can't expect everybody to accept you and love you. And I would be literally an idiot, a fool, to think that everyone would. And I just laugh and walk away.
Generationally, where you came from,
Mm-hmm.
your age and coming out to now, the world's a little bit better about it.
It really is, and it's worse at the same time.
Right. And I'm saying, but I've heard
but it is
people
better.
that have said that older gay generation have talked and shared with me like the difference of the younger generation and it's like two different worlds almost.
Yes, because you don't have to worry about the discrimination as you did back in the day, because more people are willing to say, I have no problem with it. Back in the day, people just wouldn't say anything. They would just keep their mouth shut. Even family members, just don't say anything. Just don't. They always hush. Yeah. And now it's like people go, yeah, deal with it. And I go, fuck yeah.
That's good. And that's, it's just a positive thing I wanted to put out there. We're not gonna go through every song here.
And I'll drag you back to the past again. When Sam Taylor was our manager, when we made the first 4 records, he was like a football coach. I mean, he would make us go over this song for 7 hours over and over and over and over and over again. We hated him for it. But as a result of it, we got Gretchen and Faith Hope Love. And even to this day, most of those songs we could play in our sleep, literally. And when you see us play them, Lost in Germany, all those songs are like, there's so much going on. And it's like, they were just drilled into us. Well, Swipe Up, to do that, we would have to lock ourselves away and get somebody to beat us over the head and make us do it, because we're not going to do that. And all the other songs, we're going to break our neck trying to make them happen, but Swipe Up, we put some shit in that song that I don't think.
It's a good album. It's
good.
Worth it. Okay.
It's all good. I just love telling people that, because it's like that's going to be a rough one.
The fact that you actually said that out loud, I was like, what?
Yeah, and you never know. You never know. I can never say never. It's always been our motto.
Touring, so we got a lot of touring planned for this year.
After Ty's immune problem is fixed, when the doctors say he can go out without catching something and dying, we're going to be waiting for a little bit, a few months, I guess. We do have a few weekends coming up in the next few months, which he can do weekends.
Good.
Fly in,
wrap
fly
them up
out.
In bubble wrap. You guys got to stay around.
That's what we've been doing. And Jerry too. Since he had a couple heart attacks. Now he doesn't have a bad heart anymore. His heart's better than it ever was. His doctor says, even when he was younger.
Wow.
He runs, he lifts, he weights. We're all extremely healthy. All 3 of us are. Things catch up with you, I guess. So it's not like we're on our way out or anything like that. So we're gonna get back out there and kill it.
That's awesome. Well, September 2nd, buy the album. Let's make Doug's birthday.
And
send him wishes. September 3rd. It's out there now. Go on the social media and wish him happy birthday. Doug,
thanks.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Always.